Hi guys, this is Amy with Found Things Art, and today I'm going to show you how to do the Tunisian stitch that is in my Rakenne Earwarmer Headband pattern, which is on Ravelry. And you can practice with this tutorial to get you used to the Tunisian stitch if you have never done it before. So this you will have to practice. You will have a chain of 7 and do a row of half double crochets, and then be ready to start your stitch. Okay, so the basics of this, I'm using the 4mm hook as said in my pattern. The basics is we want to go into the stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And we're going to repeat this all across when we load. This is our forward pass. Okay, so now we yarn over, insert our hook in the stitch, and pull up a loop there. And we're going to repeat that for the first stitch only until we have 10 loops on the hook. Okay, so yarn over, insert hook in the stitch, and pull up a loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And one more time. Okay, so now we have 10 loops on the hook, and pull those a little loose so you have room to slide your hook back and forth. Otherwise, you'll be very frustrated in the return pass if you cannot get your hook to slide through all of those loops. Okay, so for the next one, we skip a stitch and go into the next stitch to do the same thing. This time we only put 9 loops on the hook. Okay, so yarn over, pull up a loop, and it's easier to hold these back right here with your thumb. As you work, it's going to be very full on your hook, so you don't want to frustrate yourself. So learning those little tricks will help you as you practice. Okay, so we're going to repeat now. Yarn over, insert hook, and pull up a loop. And we're going to do that until there's 9 loops on the hook. And we're going to do that in the remaining stitch. So for saving on time of this video, I am just going to explain that to you and come back and show you what it looks like when finished. Okay, so that is skip 1 stitch and then do the repeat of insert hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, insert hook into stitch, and pull up until you have 9 loops on the hook. You repeat that. Okay, so we'll just be right back and show you what it looks like once it's finished. Okay, this is what it looks like when all of your stitches are loaded onto your hook, and that is the finish of a forward pass. In the Tunisian, we do not turn on our rounds, which will be important when you get to the next row. But for this, we are doing the return pass. So a forward pass and a return pass is in one row, and that is just finishing the stitches off. So in the return pass, so we yarn over and we're going to go through 4 loops on the hook, and it can be finicky. Make sure you're not losing your hook in there and snagging any of your yarn. It's really good to not use yarn that splits too much. Okay, so I'm through 2 loops. I'm going to finish my 4 loops here. Make sure it doesn't grab anything. As you can see, it does happen even to the more experienced user. So now we're going to chain 1, okay, so we've gone through the first 4 loops, and we're going to now not yarn over. We're going to simply pull our hook through the remaining loops. All right, there's one stitch. And in between stitches, we are going to chain 2. Whoop. And this is why you have to be very cautious with your yarn splitting. And you need lots of space to go through all of those stitches, okay? So I'm going to repeat this, yarn over and pull through 4 loops, including that first one on the stitch there. And it's probably easiest to separate your stitches there and then try to pull them through and hold them, hold them together right there till you get through them. It'll just help you not want to scream. Okay, so we finish the middle section with a chain 1 and finish the stitch with going through all remaining loops on the hook. Okay, pull the stitch back to make sure you get everything in there and that you don't pick up anything extra. Okay, so now we just repeat that all the way across in your row. So that was a chain 2 in between and then a repeat. So for clarity, I'm going to tell you one more time and I'll come back and show you and let you work on your return pass for this row, and then we will go into our second row. In the pattern it looks a little different. So okay, so as a repeat, that was a chain 2 in between stitches, yarn over, go through 4 loops, chain 1, and then pull through all remaining loops. Okay, I'll be back to show you what the end of this row looks like and move on to round 2. Alrighty, here we go. We have our first row almost complete. At the end, we want to chain 2. It will just help you in the next row. Okay, so in the pattern, you have repeats of this row, but you also have at the end a different row, which is what I want to have you practice right now before you get going, because it is loading more stitches and it is harder to work and remove stitches if you have not used the Tunisian crochet before. So for this we have chain 2, and now our next row we're going to go into the chain 1 space in the middle of our stitch. Okay, and now we're going to do the same thing that we did in the last row in our forward pass and our return pass. So we now insert our hook and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull up a loop, and we repeat this now, yarn over, insert into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and we do that again until we have 10 loops on the hook. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so that first loop always counts as a loop. So we have 10 loaded, and then we go in between in the chain 2 space and we start the same thing over, but remember our second stitches and all remaining stitches only has 9 loops on the hook. Okay, so I'm just going to demonstrate. Yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, insert into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert into the stitch, and pull up a loop, Okay, and as you can see, and as you've learned from the last row, it has a lot of loops on the hook, and it is a bit tricky to work with. So this last row will be even more because you're adding more stitches by going in between the chain 2 space. Okay, so make sure there's 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so for the sake of time, I am going to show you how that is loaded here, and you repeat that across in the top of the next stitch, the chain 2 space, and the final stitch. And I will be back to show you what it looks like so we can get to our forward pass. Okay, and here we have all stitches loaded and completing our forward pass. As you can see, there is a lot to work with now. So this is where you want these stitches to be loose so you can pull all those loops through. Okay, so now what you do in the return pass is the same as before. Yarn over and go through 4 loops, making sure not to split any of those loops. It's very easy to do. You don't want to work with splitty yarn. It will frustrate you. We will just get rid of that one. Okay, so chain 1 and not yarn over and go through all remaining loops. So do not yarn over. It's very tempting to want to do that, so do not yarn over. Okay, and then we do our chain 2 in the middle. Okay, and actually it looked like I grabbed too many stitches at the end there, but don't do that. Let's start that again so I can show you one more time. So we're going to yarn over, or chain 2 in the middle. Now in our starting of our stitch, we yarn over and go through 4 loops on the hook. So make sure you count those easily. 4 loops. Okay, and we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to yarn, or not yarn over, and go through the remaining loops on the hook. So you want to separate that next stitch because it'll want to slide into there. So go through the remaining loops. Alrighty, and that's what it should look like. So repeat that across. Again, I will tell you what that is. That is a yarn over, going through 4 loops, a chain 1, and not yarning over, but pulling your hook through the remaining stitches, and then chaining 2 between each stitch. So I will show you what it looks like, and it's all finished at this end in just a few. Okay, this is what it looks like on your last return pass, and you have completed the Tunisian stitches. It takes practice, so be patient with yourself and don't give up. Keep trying and try again. And this row is only on 1 row in the pattern, and it's the last row, so it won't be like that. It'll be a little bit easier with less stitches on the hook. So thank you for your time, and thank you for your purchase of my pattern. I hope you love your earwarmer, and I hope you have a happy time crocheting. See you next time.